Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to today's show. My name is Marion Bevington, and I'm hosting this show today. And to find out even more about me, because there's going to be lots of juicy stuff coming up today, you could find me on my website, which is marionbevington.com. And I really want to thank Marina, who has invited me to take part in this, because Marina is one of the most inspiring action takers that I've ever met. We met each other, it must be 4 years ago now, Marina.
That's true, Marion. And I'm so humbled to have you here sharing with our listeners your story and inspiring them to create better life choices, because they are available equally to you and me. And it just needs that little bit of opening. It's like opening a window into others people's soul and allow them to look inside and just become a window themselves. Over to you, Marianne.
That's right. One of the things that you'll see on my website is I talk about finding how to have a fabulous life by getting out of your own way. And for me, that's what the window is all about. Sometimes I wish I could open the window and push my personality out and make it jump off, because it's our personality that actually gets in our own way, isn't it? We are divine beings. We are, pieces of the universe, part of this universe. And in order for us to bring about, to manifest a life that we would be very happy and fulfilled and successful in, we actually need to get rid of the parts that we carry around, our own baggage. So getting out of my own way and helping others to get out of your own way is the job that I've decided is most fulfilling for me, because I can't do it until I've taken steps. I can't teach people what I'm not doing.
And you're right, Marianne. You got a divine job, and your job is always about other people, and it's very hard to keep the focus on yourself. And perhaps considering the life as a journey rather than a race, it will help you package yourself in a way that you are ready to go on a real journey. Like, instead of carrying 2 tons of luggages, having the kitchen sink and the garage and everything else with you, you just take a small carry-on bag, because life is so simple. And true happiness is not something you chase. It's something you hold inside. And this is the real challenge, the fact that you hold it inside instead of bring it outside as you do. And I know you are just a masterpiece. And you are such a huge inspiration to me personally, and I hope you'll become for our listeners too, because it's all about realizing that we are all born with the same divine essence. And nobody can make that decision for you, but the decision that needs to be made is purely and simply, am I going to turn myself from the missing piece into the masterpiece, or I'm going to ignore my divine mission, my divine calling? I'm going to ignore my divine being, and that essence which I carry, I hold inside, is not for me to hold inside. It's for me to give away, to share it with the world. So all I have to take with me in this journey, this carry-on little bag, is my divine essence, and master it. Over to you, Marianne.
That's so true. And although it appears that I work for other people, I actually am truly working for myself. I don't think that so firstly, my work wouldn't have even started in this area if I hadn't had a huge kick up the backside from life to say, hang on a minute, have you actually worked out what's going on here yet? Because life felt okay, successful, financially successful. I was traveling, but I wasn't really in my power until life gave me a kick up the backside and took away many of my powers. So I had to reestablish where I was, who I was, what I was doing. And it was only at that point that I began a journey which has brought me to where I am today, which is all about being an inspired person, because now I've been inspired by great teachers. And I'm really happy when other people find my journey inspiring and it can teach them something. Because I don't believe that I am the teacher. I believe that my whole life is what teaches others. My being a role model, my being a, somebody to follow. It is a result of what I do, not where I want to position myself or how I want to position myself. It's the, that lovely quote, be the change that you wish to see in the world. And it's through my being something that I influence others, rather than my trying to influence, that I get the greatest pleasure. And this kick up the backside came about in 2 stages. So the first one for me was my thyroid stopped working. It's an autoimmune condition, but I just took the pills and carried on with life. Didn't realize that was actually a wake-up call. I just moved on. But then my vision started to go. I got double vision, so I can't drive, I can't ride a bike now. I have hospital sessions that I get nagged at quite a lot about surgery and medication, which so far I've said I want to continue on my natural healing journey. And that was my wake-up call. Double vision was my wake-up call. So I lost confidence.
So Marion, you see, this is so painful only when you think about. We have all this beauty in our life and we see it, but we don't see who we are. It's as if we are blinded by I don't know by what actually. It's still for me to understand.
Conditioning, Marina. It's the conditioning that blinds us, and the conditioning is thousands of years old. Conditioning is something that we need, because otherwise we'd have to relearn how to clean our teeth every day. So we need conditioning to survive. But then the conditioning goes way beyond our survival needs, and it goes into programming the voice in our mind, or inner chatter, all of the stuff that goes on in our thoughts, in our thinking realm. This is all the conditioning that begins to control our life from a very, very early age. And it's the undoing of that conditioning is the work I do now. I used to program machines. Now I deprogram people.
So it's all about, in my own experience, and I so relate to your story, because only when I drop dead in front of my house with absolutely no reason is when I realized that I have to get going. I have to be away from home. And this is how I started my journey. But I had no idea where I was going. But I had the choice to go or stay. So staying in a comfortable place with everything I always wanted and I achieved was killing me.
What you'd achieved was conditioned, wasn't it, by television, by other people who said they were successful, by these plastic interpreted lives that we all try to copy.
Yes, but I think I had no time to watch television. I was working like 16, 17 hours a day. I never had a holiday for over 2 decades. But I think for me was that I could not see. I could not see like yourself. So I had that moment when other people would celebrate and be so grateful for everything they got and they achieved. It wasn't that I wasn't grateful. I just had no life left in me. So I went to that black tunnel, where I was carrying all this. I don't know what they were. They were in mine. They were other people's expectations, I think. And you see this transformational change when you realize that instead of looking outside, chasing goals, chasing clients, chasing money, chasing whatever it is that you're supposed to deliver, it's nothing to do with the outside world. It's always about looking inside. When you start seeing inside, when the magic happens. But you see, carrying all that expectation like huge luggages to this narrow dark tunnel, because I had no idea where I was going, but I could see I was going. So once I start going through that process, I felt very lonely, because as I said, I to me is a very narrow dark tunnel, but I knew at the end of that tunnel there is lots of light. It's so much light that it's worth crawling. It's worth going on a horseback. It's worth leaving everything behind, basically. So I only carry with me my one dream, my one vision, because that gave me the vision, where before I was blind. And I know your story inspired me so much. You don't even realize how many times I thought of you thinking, it's possible. It's possible because Marion is there. And you kind of lightened my black tunnel during those times. And I had no idea how to connect, because I was focusing on this crawling through this black tunnel. And that's why I'm so grateful to you. And that's why I'm one of your forever supporter and forever people who love you no matter what, because you inspire me so greatly when it was complete dark. I was in that Kodak room, the dark room, or develop your own colors. So it's always good to have something in your mind, or somebody in your mind that they've been through that period of time, and because they survived, there are all the chances for you to imagine meeting them at the other end and celebrating together. Over to you, Marion.
Oh, I'm really honoured, Marina, to hear you say that, because for me, and I'm sure you'll agree, that when other people are in a dark tunnel, we don't even notice, because we can always see the light in others. It's the light in ourselves that's so difficult to see. And when we find the light in another and we realise that that person thinks that they're in the dark, that can be a real support, because this is like, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one who feels alone. I'm not the only one who's had to let go of all these things. I'm not the only one who has to admit I've made so many stupid mistakes. I've been dragging around all of these huge bags thinking they were so important, when actually they're the only thing holding me back. And when you realize that you're not the only one, then you're absolutely right. Celebration it automatically becomes the next step. And to be able to celebrate, and celebration for me is a very mixed bag of things, because part of my the dark tunnel that I was crawling through, and the stuff I was moving away from, was around alcoholism. So my family background is, my mum is Irish. My father's mother is from an Irish family. And anybody who doesn't know anything about the Irish culture, just get down to whichever local pub serves Guinness, and you'll find out all about the Irish culture, because Irish culture it's almost the epicenter of it is the pub and alcohol. Now, this is my personal story. So if you're Irish and this is not your truth, then forgive me for labeling it as such, but in my life, this is just my experience. So for me, alcoholism came with the family. But what I've understood through my journey is that in order to celebrate, alcohol was necessary, because it helps people to loosen up. It gives people an excuse to let their hair down. One of my brothers talks about alcohol like it's his reward at the end of a hard-working day. He wants a beer. And even though he's not an alcoholic, but this is an alcoholic mentality in my current state of being, and this might change. I now know that we change all of the time. But celebration is so important, because to celebrate together helps us to feel like one. I don't know if you've ever had the experience where either you're dancing, or you're singing, or you're laughing, or you're just sharing the space with a group who are doing something similar, and you find yourself lost in the energy of the group, but you feel like you're home. There's a space where it's like everybody's heart is connected, everybody's spirit is connected, everybody is just in a connected, loving space where everyone's sharing and doing something similar. That to me is what celebration is about. Celebration is about coming together. Actually, it would be interesting to find out what the definition of the word celebration actually means, wouldn't it? Because I find that now I know that I can celebrate every moment, and it really is about staying connected. And, you know, letting your hair down is about letting go of the bondage of the conditioning and of society and of work and all those very, very serious things. Those things in life that are very, very serious, and, you know, we have to take them very seriously. And, you know, the bills must be paid, and the children must be dressed, and the food must be on, all of these things. And some of them are crucial to our survival, but so many of them are just conditioning and programming from TV or from other people or from the wannabes or the expectations. And so, yeah, so coming back around to my point, that in order to celebrate, I used to feel like the rest of my family that I had to get out of my head, but I used to get out of my head with intoxicant, with the substance, with alcohol or with some other substances that you use to get out of your head. But now I know that actually the real celebration is when I come down out of my head and I come in and visit my heart, and I come in and I visit my belly, and I can celebrate who I am from the inside, and that shines out, and it's contagious, and it helps whoever I'm with and magnifies my own ability to actually celebrate. And that can be done every moment, regardless of how intoxicated I am with substances or different things. I can be intoxicated by my own inner beauty and my own inner radiance, and sharing that from other people and with other people. So you're one of those lovely people for me, Marina, because I just tuned into my celebration energy, and you're there loud and clear, and it's lovely. Celebrating with you, Marina, is something that I don't think we've ever shared alcohol together, but every time I see you, it feels like a celebration.
Beautiful. You know, Marion, I was thinking that somebody asked me if I want to go to their birthday, and they said, "Oh, come on, say yes, because you're always working." And I said, "I never work. I celebrate all the time. I don't work." And what type of people you want me to join if there is only once a year? So if you celebrate only once a year, you are not my kind of people. You have to start celebrating each day. And I think, you know, like I was walking through the park, and I go to the garden, and I see a little tiny drop of rain left from before on a little leaf. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I wish I could celebrate this with the whole planet. It's so beautiful. And then, you know, there are all these close-up moments when you go close, and you see the truth, because each human being, each plant, each piece of wood, each piece of anything is energy. And the more you go and look inside, I mean, not inside, but, you know, you see it. It's a close-up when you realize how different everything is. And if you look in a garden, every single tiny piece of grass is different than the next one. Every single tiny little daisy is so different than the next one. It's no such thing. Even the color of your eyes, are saying that 60-something% of the world population got brown eyes, and the 66, you know, whatever the billion trillions now of different type of browns. So it's not only your fingertip, it's your everything. Everything. It's, I don't know, nature created us or we create nature. I'm not quite sure. It's for me to find out yet. But everybody and everything is to be celebrated. And somebody asked me actually the other day, so how you find things to celebrate? I said, well, it's very simple. I just eliminate everything that can't be celebrated. You know, like, I don't know another way. It's like the same way I decided one day when I was going through the tunnel, I had lots of time to think all by myself, you know, like nuns do in the mountains. So I went through that process, and I realized that actually, unless I trade my to-be list, which I was very good at, for my to-be list, which I'm work in progress right now, I will never understand the difference. I will never be able to leave a legacy. I will never be able to help other people so they could say, wow, my life could be so much better, and it's up to me to make it happen, because I can't live somebody else's life. And like you said, it's an inside job. It's not, you have to work on yourself to be able to help others. The same way when you go on a plane, they're saying, you know, all that, the same story again, which is when you fly a lot, it's like, oh my God, this is so true, you know. So if you want to help somebody, if anything happens, if the plane is about to crash, whatever is happening, you have to put your the oxygen mask on yourself first to be able to help others, because otherwise how can you help others? And I so clearly see your mission and your life purpose, and you are shining, and you know, like the way you, the deeper you go, because you go to profound levels. I'm following you. No, I'm coming from behind, and I'm thinking, oh my God, this is absolutely amazing. So each time we talk is almost like another eureka moment for me. And I'm thinking, wow. But you see, I made that decision a while ago to I had no idea what's happening. So with me, and it was not happening. It's never happened to me. It was always happening for me. So I decided to embrace it, whatever the challenge. So when I had no idea what to do next, I said, it's not relevant. It's not how. It's wow. I'm doing something next, because back then, a few years ago, when I retired and nobody needed me anymore, I had my biggest challenge was what's next was nothing. So that nothingness, I couldn't understand the fabric of it. You know, I couldn't embrace that. I just, and then I realized that it's not the how, it's the wow. So each time our listeners are telling themselves, oh, how on earth I'm going to do what Marion does? You know, it's not about the how. It's wow. I'm being myself, and I see clearly. I close my eyes and I see.
Yes. Absolutely. And you're quite right. I mean, I can only go to the depths that I go to because it's my experience. The journey for me really into personal development began training to be a yoga teacher. And so that was how we met, Marina, was when I published my first book, Companies Can Do Yoga Too, because I come out of corporates and into yoga. And in yoga, there's some instructions, and many people think there are many instructions, but actually there's one instruction in yoga, and that is experience. Because without experience, instructions are just information, and information can't be lived. But experience is all about living. If you live it, if you be it, then you can share it, and you share it from a different place. And this is where things feel very deep and very profound, is because I may sound a bit like a book sometimes, and I might repeat quotes and I might repeat things from books sometimes, and that is information sharing. But generally, I use that to try to help people understand what I'm saying from my experience perspective, because it's difficult to put words on an experience. An experience is much bigger than words are. Words are quite restricting. And sometimes people have thought up a fabulous quote that kind of describes a bit about what you've experienced. So, you know, use it, share it, because then people can begin to understand. And through the understanding, then they can go away and have the experience for themselves, or practice something that will give them their own experience. And so absolutely, it's the being, it's through the being that we can have this ability to share these deep truths, because we can only, the truth is in me. My truth is through my being. We may both have different truths, but they're both still true because they're relevant to me as a person. Your truth is relevant to you as a person. Some of those truths will be in common, and we'll find that we both share them. But sometimes I have things that are my real experience that nobody else has had happen to them. And this is part of our being unique, but it's okay. And now I'm okay with it. Before, I would have wanted to convince people it was true. I would have wanted other people to acknowledge my truth, to admire me for finding it, and then to agree with me. And so that makes me so small. because it makes the agreement and the admiration the point of the whole dialogue. And that's not my point of my expression, and my point of speaking and sharing is for my being to express itself, not for the other to get it. I mean, if the other gets it, that's great. But actually, when I'm just speaking about my experience, it's my expression that's important. What's received will always be filtered by the person who receives it. And I have no control over those filters.
You touch a point which is is a topic actually in my own mind as the number one mystery you have the chance to discover in this lifetime experience, because it doesn't matter how much you know, doesn't matter how much you own, doesn't matter how much other people know about you, doesn't matter who knows you, none of this is relevant. Even it's all about you making yourself available to greatness. Make time, declutter your life, make time, just detox everything that is not serving you to serve the world. So make time to allow other experiences to overwhelm you, because that feeling is who makes you. It's who you are. What you feel inside is who you are. And like you said, oh my God, I used to feel, you earlier, you just mentioned about being in a group and celebrating. And I have to tell you this, that when I moved to London almost 3 decades ago, for almost 3 decades, I mean, the last 3.5 years since I start globetrotting and hoovering the planet for big ideas, but all that part of my life was like, I felt like intruding. I felt like I'm not welcome. Even I moved from a small house to a better house, to a better house, to a better house. I never felt at home. And suddenly I go, anywhere I go in the world, I feel at home. And of course, I'm at home with my family in London, and I'm thinking, oh my God, this feels so good to be at home. But guess what? I feel at home everywhere. And that experience I had before was because I was chasing external goals. That experience was breaking my life into pieces, breaking me down into small pieces, got no congruence. Because all the transactions I made and all the results and the achievements, people were jealous or whatever, thinking, oh my God, how she does all this, it wasn't about me. I was delivering that because it was expected of me, but I wasn't at home. I never felt like celebrating. Even each time I would buy another house, the developer will send me a case of champagne, and but it wasn't celebrating. It wasn't like exploding inside. It was just another thing. A thing. And I learned that best things in life are not things, are people. So all that experience, of when people come to your book launch and they come and ask you questions, and the questions are relevant to them. It's not so. It's as if they mirror into you. They don't really ask me anything because they know it already. They want validation, and I'm thinking, no, you don't need any. Look at me. If I can, you can. And this is the very truth of my own being, is that if I can, you can. And to me, there is nothing that is impossible. There is nothing that is out of reach. There is nothing that you want and you cannot have. And you are the living proof. And there are so many people. I just adore them and I celebrate them. And I really believe that success is nothing but your birthright. It's not something you chase. It's not, because once you realize how much you have to give, and you are so abundant, the more you give, the more you have. It's like a spring, like Niagara Falls. So I realized that, give more, give it all, go all in, and just shower everyone with beauty and love, and become love. Don't just fall in love with something or new subject or a new person. Be the love. Be the love that the world needs, because it's no other way will heal this planet, which is suffering and is dying. Is each one of us could really wake up, and like you said, it's nothing to do with anyone. it's a very lonely planet. But
Yeah.
it's only going. The beauty of this is each one of us is so beautiful, so magnificent, and so connected with the beauty of this planet. And the more you leave room between yourself and who you truly are, that gap, becomes deeper and deeper. And you could think and instead of ever coming up, you'll never find yourself anymore. And it's not about finding yourself. Actually, what I'm talking about is, the words are not saying the right things for me today, but you reinvent yourself the way you see yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
Reinvent your life on your own terms.
This
like
is
you
a
did,
big
Marion.
part. Yeah, this is a big part of the work. Some of the work I'm doing at the moment. So I'm working with another of your guest hosts on Radio Words. I'm working with Cheryl Chapman at the moment on Find Your Why and the Live Love Laugh Lounge. And what we've done is we've created this framework that it's really important. There's 3 parts to the framework. We call it AIM. So aim for happiness. There's the aim to find your why. But in AIM, we've got awareness, which is about opening the Pandora's box of me. So who am I? Where am I? How did I get here? What do I want? What do I want to move towards? So it really is creating a map. And then there's the next I is intention. And the intention is what we're talking about today, really. It's about, what is it I want to feel? How do I want to travel on this life journey? What are the goals that I want, and why have I got those goals? And why do those goals light me up? Or as you said, you've got a new house built and the developer comes around with a box of champagne. You don't even feel anything. So that was a massive goal and it was a success, but it didn't fit with your intention, because your intention was to feel successful. And actually, a big house and a bottle of champagne, that's not success. So that didn't bring you the feeling that you wanted. But when you know your why and you've got the awareness of all of the things that you are and you want, and you know your intention, which is to feel fulfilled and successful and have a good life and enjoy life and have love, then you can manifest that life. And that's the M. So whatever we aim for, if we know the why of that aim, and if we know our own personal why and our own personal values, then we can't lose. We can't not manifest what it is that we're building and creating and what we desire. And so you're a perfect example of this, Marina, and what you've described in today's talk around your journey is another perfect example of just, we have to aiming for why, the purpose, the cause, the all of these lovely words that are being used so freely these days, which I love. The language at the moment is really changing. It's becoming a lot more fluffy, a lot more esoteric, a bit woo-woo, and I love it all, because from my science background days, where I used to be very cynical about all of the work that I do today, it's like I'm a completely different person. So it's the same being, but my experiences are different. The things I practice, the things I do, the things I say, the way I say them, that my intention is now completely different, because I realized that, as same as you, just like you, I realized that all these material possessions and these external affirmations are not it. If it's not on the inside of me and it's not lighting me up and exploding with fireworks inside me, I'm on the wrong path. And I know that this is something that we do deeply share. We share it with everybody, but I know that me and you are starting to wake up to realize that this is part of what our connection is all about.
And you know what I love the most? I have no idea. I don't have a clue what's next. And I love it. I don't know where we're going. We are going together and we go far. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. There's that quote, isn't there? If you want God to make God laugh, tell him your plans. Who knows what we've got next? Nobody knows. You can make as many plans as you want. But having an intention means that things happen to you without even making plans. So I know that you've had the same experience as me, that we call it a coincidence, or we call it miracles, or you call it what you like, but like if I go for a train these days, I seem to arrive 3 minutes before the train doors close, or I go to the bus stop, I arrive 3 minutes before the bus arrives, or I want to park a car, somebody pulls out in front of me and leaves a space where I want it. These miracles or coincidences or things turning out just perfectly, they're happening more and more frequently. And I didn't plan any of that. So I really love that quote. If you want to make God laugh, then tell him your plans, because we just don't know.
I love you so much, Marion. From both of us, until next time, is goodbye.
Goodbye.